We will now begin Foreign Minister's press conference. Over to you. Yes. From my side, there are 2 points that I would like to talk about. First and foremost, on 8th of September, the second Japan-India Foreign and Defense Ministerial, the 2+2, will be held together with Defense Minister Hamada in Tokyo in face-to-face. From India, we will have the participation of Foreign Minister Jaishankar and Defense Minister Shin. On the same day, with Foreign Minister Jaishankar, we will have the 14th Foreign Ministerial Strategic Dialogue. India shares with us the basic value and strategic interest. India is indeed a special strategic global partner and is part of the important members of the Quad, such as US and Australia. Through these dialogues, we would like to talk about the bilateral relationship, including security and defense cooperation, and conduct a candid view exchange in relation to regional international trends so that we can use it as an opportunity to tighten the bilateral relationship. Additional point is in regards to Pakistan's the flood, which has been happening since the mid of June up until now, and has been continuously happening. At this time, as a part of the humanitarian support for the damage, we decided to provide an emergency grant aid of the $7 million level. This cooperation is going to be conducted based on the needs of the local, and it should be conducted together with WFP and UNICEF. Together with these international institutions, we are going to provide humanitarian support. At this time, before this support to be provided on 29th of August, as the emergency supply, tents and plastic seats had already been decided to be provided, and all these supplies had already been delivered over to Pakistan before 4th of September. Continuously, as Japanese government, we would like to support as we stay by the side of the people of Pakistan. That's all from my side. Thank you.
If there is any question, please raise your hand, and if you are designated, and then please approach to the microphone and mention your affiliation or company name and your name, please. Nobita-san of the Asahi Shimbun. Russian government yesterday stated that regarding the agreement with Japan regarding the exchanges on the northern territories, and the government of Russia announced that it is going to suspend the validity of the agreement. Could you please give us the government's take? Yes, we have known that announcement. In March, Russian foreign minister said that the Japanese measures have been unilateral and unfriendly measures. Therefore, this 4 islands exchange programs shall be suspended. That has been announced by the Foreign Ministry of Russia in March. But from Japan's side, all the current situation has been derived from the invasion by Russia in Ukraine, and therefore Russia is trying to shift the blame to Japan's side, but this response from Russia is improper and therefore not acceptable at all. We have filed a strong protest. Given this backdrop, regarding the suspension of the validity of the agreement regarding the exchange programs on the 4 islands announced by the Russian government, it's unjustifiable and cannot be acceptable at all. Regarding this matter, we haven't received any prior notice from the Russian side to date, but on the 6th of September, from the Deputy Assistant Vice Minister of European Affairs Bureau, has filed a protest strongly to the deputy of the Russian embassy in Tokyo. Kusakabe-san of the Mainichi Shimbun, please.
This is Kusakabe of the Mainichi Shimbun. Yesterday, there was the large earthquake that have occurred in China, and I would like to ask you to provide us with the status of the studying of the provide and supply. On the 5th, around 14 times, the earthquake occurred, and I understand that some people have passed away. To those who have passed away and to the family members, I would like to show my heartfelt condolence. And at the same time, I would like to pray for the recovery of the people And also I wish for the early reconstruction. At this time, we hear no information that the damage had been inflicted against people, Japanese people. Continuously, we would like to keep on monitoring the status, and at the same time, we would like to fully prepare ourselves for securing of the safety of those who are in Japan. In regards to the support, at this time, there is no decision had been made. Thank you.
From NHK, Yasuda-san, please have the floor. This is Iwasawa of NHK. Regarding the election of the leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, Liz Truss, Foreign Secretary, has been elected as the new leader. Could you please give us your take on this result of the election, and how are you going to promote the relationship between Japan and the UK going forward? On the 5th of UK time, the results of the election for the leader of Conservative Party has been announced, and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has been elected as the next leader. And through the diplomatic relationship and the meetings between the foreign ministers between the two countries, we have had a dialogue with the Liz Truss, and I have been encouraged personally by the leadership to be exhibited by her going forward. And the UK shares with Japan the fundamental values as global strategic partners. We would like to continue to have a close relationship with the next administration of the UK in order to realize the free and open Indo-Pacific through the further strengthening of the bilateral relations, as well as the response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and also other issues in the international community. Next question, please. Sawai-san, please.
This is Sawai from TV, and it is in regards to the Russian petroleum. I would like to ask you the question in the week of the end at the G7 at the finance ministerial in regards to the Russian petroleum to set the cap for the price. There was an agreement being made to conduct that since from December, and in order to secure the effectiveness, China and India's involvement, I think, would be necessary. I would like to ask you for your prospects, and at the same time, as was announced just recently, well, at the 2+2, the foreign minister from India will pay a visit, and at the time of the state funeral, I understand that the Prime Minister Modi will come as well. I would like to know, are you planning on making an approach in India in order to make an approach in India to tighten the sanction? Or as was announced, the meeting had been held, and in order to reduce the revenue of the Russia from the petroleum, and at the same time, since the Russia's invasion is serving as a pressure for the inflation, there was an agreement being made in regards to set the price cap for the petroleum from the Russia, and also to ban the import. And by having those measures, to have such measures, there was an agreement being made. In regards to the price, the standards, and also the details of the system that requires the coordination with the relevant countries. As for the price cap, it is to have the cap on against the revenue of the Russia, and I understand this is quite effective the measure. As for the India, as I mentioned, the 2+2 at the 2+2 bilaterally in regards to the security and also bilateral relationships, we are going to have a discussion for the sake of the FIP realization. We are going to talk about the cooperation in the Quads and also regional and international status. The trend are expected to be discussed at that meeting. As for the specific agenda to be discussed with India, I would like to refrain from making speculations.
Next question. IWC, please. Good morning. Internet media, Hamoto speaking. Regarding the unification charge issues, I have a question. Since 1991, it has been elucidated that the unification charge has continued to provide a great support to North Korea. As the major source of funds for the unification charge is said to be the fund from Japan, and therefore the funds from Japan is pointed out to be the source of the funding to North Korea. And are there any opinions at the Foreign Ministry to elucidate the flow of funds from the Unification Church to North Korea? Yes, I would like to refrain from making any comments on individual reports in the media, but anyhow, regarding the development of nuclear weapons and missiles of the North Korea, has been regarded as the threat to the peace and the safety of Japan as well as the international community. Therefore, it cannot be tolerated. But we'd like to continue to have close cooperation with Japan and the U.S. and South Korea in order to secure the implementation of UNSC resolutions and denuclearization. Kabe-san of the Mainichi Shimbun.
Because this is Kusakabe of the Mainichi Shimbun, I have a question about Japan-Korea. Because the judge in charge of former the civilian workers from the Korean Peninsula had retired, and there is a possibility that the conclusion for the reappeal for the liquidation may be delayed. And at the public-private consultation group, there was an opinion being raised that the compensation should be made from the funds. I would like to know the opinions of the government. I would like to refrain from making comments in regards to each of the movements of the Korean side. But as for the former civilian workers from Korean Peninsula, if in case the liquidation issue take place, then it would bring the serious situation for the Japan-Korea the relationship. Therefore, that shall be avoided. Well, in regards to this matter, including at my level, this matter had repeatedly been conveyed to Korean side. In July, at the foreign ministerial consultation from Foreign Minister Park, it was mentioned that he will pay the efforts so that the ideal solution will be realized before the liquidation take place. And we agreed to each other that the early resolving of this matter would be necessary. Based on that, we are communicating closely between the diplomatic authorities, and we would like to continuously communicate to each other in regards to those matters in the future as well. With this, we would like to close today's press conference. Thank you.